So what do you think is the bigger threat to the people of Earth here, Noel? This giant meteor hurtling towards it, or Sean Connery's smoldering sexuality?
Oh my goodness. I think the meteor in this case.
Maybe if you're counting dudes, but can the ladies of Earth handle
Sean Connery? I actually found his charisma to be played down in this compared to his Bond films.
I mean, it is a little muted, but he still has those moments where he kind of asserts himself as like hyper masculine.
Are we watching this because you have a Sean Connery fetish?
No. No, man. I think listen.
I wondered. I was curious whether we were watching this because we found a sweet beer that had Meteor in the title, or if it was because you needed to get a little bit more Connery in your life. But,
I mean, both things will get you wet.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And today, as Noel just alluded to here, we are watching Meteor, the little-known predecessor to Deep Impact and Armageddon. It came out in that era of disaster movies with like the one-word titles: Earthquake, Avalanche, which actually relates to this one, as we'll learn later on.
I didn't know this existed until you shared it with me. This was my first time, obviously. Wasn't alive when it was created. I kind of missed out on that first wave of disaster movies.
They got played on television a little bit. Towering Inferno was on TV a lot when I was a kid. And I think Earthquake probably too. Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Interesting here. Sean Connery starring in it. I only really know him from the Bond films for the most part. He made a small appearance in the Highlander movie.
Yes, he did.
We watched earlier.
We did watch a Connery Bond. I forgot about that. We watched Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah. So
that was a rough one. Yeah.
We're going to see if sort of some of that comes across. I was curious if he was playing an American in this and he would have his Scottish accent like normal.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
They don't really talk about his origin, but he definitely lives in America and is an American scholar. I don't know. He could have been originally from Scotland and ended there. I don't know.
We don't get a lot of backstory.
We don't get a lot of backstory, no. What we do get a lot of backstory of is about this giant rock, but we're not going to get into that quite yet, are we?
Not yet.
We got to talk about the beer. We want to know about that backstory. So,
this is another easy one.
Yeah. Oh, slam dunk. Meteor Sour. Right there. This is from the Stanley Park Brewing Company. I love on the can that it says it's bringing a tropical storm. So that's coming in. Stanley Park Brewing Company is in Vancouver. There's a famous, at least in Canada, park called Stanley Park. If you've been to Vancouver, you've probably visited it. And they opened this place in 2019. They took an older space there and converted it into the brewery and brew pub. They're an award-winning craft brewery. They have all kinds of different styles, and they also apparently have great food there too. So something worth visiting. This will be my first Stanley Park beer, though. Being from Ontario, we don't get a ton of BC beers here, so I'm excited to give this one a try. I love the description on the can, so I'm going to just sort of give a little bit of it. It says, blazing through orbit and raining down copious amounts of guava, mango, and pineapple flavors. Ooh. Our tropical storm is tart and juicy and a flash of spritzy lemony citrus. Ooh, that sounds good.
I love those flavors. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a hit for us.
Second sour in a row. We had one 2 weeks ago for Alone in the Dark.
Oh, man, this is like...
Oh, it's heaven. It's heaven for me. Sean Connery and a fruited sour. Oh.
Doubly wet, I guess, huh?
Oh, come on. There's no need to be crass.
Yeah.
Let's not introduce that element into our podcast now.
Want to crack into it?
Yes, please. So after the American International logo, we get a shot of outer space and an ominous blue mist that heralds the arrival of a massive glowing orb. After some opening credits that hilariously zoom onto the screen Superman style, we get a different shot of space and a voiceover that lays it all out for us.
The asteroid belt. Thousands of fragments. Some as small as a fist, some as large as a city. And amongst these, Orpheus. 20 miles in diameter and undisturbed for countless generations. Until now.
Meteor! Did you imagine at this point that these were going to be the best special effects you'd see in this movie?
No, I thought it would get a little better from here. 1979, Star Wars fever yet or not quite?
That would have been, yeah.
I think
77
so, right?
for the first Star Wars movie, wasn't it?
Because it almost comes out with a Star Wars crawl. right? We get a little bit of that yellow
I felt more
letters
Superman
in
because of the zoom, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same kind of influence there. Space is really cool, but this fucking fast flying rocks are going to be a problem. This is what I'm getting right away here.
Well, I mean, if you didn't already get that from the title of the movie, yes, it's going to be a problem for sure. From here, we dissolve to a shot of a beautiful sailing yacht racing through the water. Literally, it turns out, as Sean Connery, in his role of Dr. Paul Bradley, is captaining a crew in some sort of annual boat competition when a Coast Guard siren interrupts his focused reverie. As we're about to find out in a minute, there's a massive meteor headed for Earth that must be stopped, and unfortunately for Dr. Bradley, he isn't just a boat enthusiast and leader in the field of astrophysics, he's also the only man who can stop it. Oh, fuck, man.
Of course, Connery is the only one who can do it. They are building up his masculinity here, being that boat captain, right?
He's winching stuff and, like, I don't know, is that what you call it? He's cranking that thing and pulling the rope. He's tying knots.
He also tells the Coast Guard that he would have rammed him if they had pulled in front of them. He lays it all out there, telling him he wasn't going to hold back in any way. But like you said, he's been hauled off that boat, and the people of NASA want him. In fact, they've even packed his bags when he arrives on the plane. He's got his bags packed. He's ready to go.
Fuck, man. I was going to say, you mentioned him threatening to ram the Coast Guard. That Coast Guard guy tells him that he would have, like, sunk him after that. And the look that Connery gives this guy through the cab window is a fucking dagger. He is just bringing the prickly, like, masculine persona here. But as hard as that look is, it is nothing compared to the attitude that he's going to show these NASA guys who summoned him.
Oh, God, yeah. He did not like being pulled off this yacht. I think he intended to win that sailing race and getting that yanked out from under him. We find out that he left NASA 5 years earlier. He had...
we don't know why yet, but it does come up.
Yeah, we don't know why, but he left, and so he was enjoying not being there. It sounds like he's been teaching a bit at MIT, or we get some of that information. But he's back because we have that meteor problem. We get a few interesting space shots. These are like very close-ups on what are like clearly models. But what we're hearing is that there is a crew in space and that they have been sent to go look at a potential problem.
Yes, his old colleague Harry is kind of our second main character here, and he's the guy that tells Dr. Bradley all of this. There was a discovery of a new comet that caught the attention of one of NASA's observatories who were concerned about its trajectory because it was headed straight for this asteroid belt we saw in the opening sequence there. So NASA needed to know about its size and orbit elements. So yes, Harry sent one of their Challenger probes that was out there to investigate. Only it turns out he might have undersold the amount of risk here because when that comet arrives and hits the Orpheus asteroid, the pieces explode outward and completely demolish the Challenger probe, killing everyone on board. And these effects are not strong.
That is going to be a theme of this movie, and I had trouble knowing whether this was limitations at the time or the best that like the crew that worked on this could do. But it is not a realistic version of explosions or things shooting out or like destruction.
Meteor flying right towards a shuttle.
It's a big bright light, and then we get like a lot of red fire, and we had some of that blue fog again.
Yep.
I understand what they're trying to do tonally, but it does not come off as realistic.
I like how the astronauts sold the meteor coming towards them by all recoiling backwards. It's like they lean back a little bit from the window as if that's going to help them. These guys are fucking dead.
Yeah, it's over. They have no way to get out of there, and obviously the guy who sent them to go check it out has some guilt on his conscience here.
Oh yeah, because the other thing is one of the military types in the room with him is like the father of the main astronaut who is now, I guess he's a... What's the opposite of an orphan? An orphaner? Is it like a widower scenario?
I'm not sure what you call when you're a parent and you lose your child. But that's got to be a terrible feeling. He
it's
takes
it
pretty well
face.
Though, in terms of like.
Okay, it's not written all over this guy's face.
Well, it's on his face, but then he straight up says like he knew the dangers of the mission.
He's
right?
a military
like
man. This is the job. He knows.
Absolutely. But this is the start of them setting up the losses that are going to come with these meteors. And there's a lot of them that are going to be coming throughout here. Spoiler here, but a lot of people are going to die. They're trying to build stakes and make this tense. Do you think the whole Earth is going to explode, though? What are your bets right here?
Oh, 100%. That's par for the course, this kind of movie. Yeah, it kills everyone. No.
Everyone's going to die, right? Nobody's going to survive this.
Did you mean they were setting up a lot of losses or a lot of setups?
Both.
Yeah, there's a lot of setups for death. No. As I mentioned, mentioned, Dr. Paul Bradley is the only man who can possibly solve this meteor problem, and he reluctantly agrees to attend a planning meeting with some various NASA and government higher-ups. He tries to imply that he's only coming to the meeting, not actually getting involved, but you, me, and even NASA know that isn't true. In fact, like you said, they've already arranged to have some of his clothes flown in. They've booked him on a flight to Washington, D.C., got him a hotel room, a car service, and even an expense account. And you know who does not care for that amount of presumption? Sean Connery.
Why don't you stick a broom up my ass? I could sweep the carpet on the way out.
Haven't changed, have you?
No, he has not.
I guess we didn't know him before, but he seems to be the same grumpy character that he often plays in many other movies.
That's what it is. He's just playing Sean Connery as a grouch.
Exactly. We transition from him sort of telling them off as he reluctantly accepts his role here to him on the phone with his ex-wife.
Yeah, in a completely unnecessary scene. That bag of clothes was packed by her. I don't know if they're ex yet. They're definitely estranged, separated, possibly heading for divorce. But yeah, for some reason, it doesn't stop him calling her that night to check in. This is a short conversation, cordial but tense, and it ends very abruptly so he can replay that day's events in his mind. We once again hear Harry's warning from the previous scene as Dr. Bradley visualizes an inevitable showdown between the giant meteor hurtling towards space and a massive U.S. satellite which he helped design, both of which we cut to before returning to Sean Connery's steely face. Now, my first instinct here was to be insulted at how obvious they're making all of this, but as we move through the movie, I think this actually is a good job of setting the tone. It is melodramatic as fuck, but that's what we're dealing with here. And if you don't believe me, just look at the newspaper headline we get in the next scene. What went wrong?
So here's where we find out that our Connery character was the one who created a project called Hercules, right? This is where NASA and the U.S. government has put nuclear missiles into space, clearly for protecting themselves against asteroids, but it also seems like we're finding out here at this large meeting that Connery quit because that wasn't how the U.S. government decided to use them.
Yeah, I like how you called it a large meeting. When he gets there, it turns out it's just him and his friend Harry. That's it, man. He shows up after that meeting after reading that newspaper on his drive in, and the conference room is totally empty. Harry rolls in a few seconds later, and I guess it turns out that Sean Connery really is the only man who can stop this meteor because they have literally called no one else. That's because, like you said, Harry already has a plan, one which Connery has guessed, where he wants to use the Hercules satellite that Bradley designed, and specifically the nuclear missiles on board, to blow up the meteor before it can reach Earth. Hilariously, this gets Connery even more fired up, and he tears into his friend as we finally learn the reason why he quit NASA in the first place.
Will you listen to me? Hercules was never designed to be a nuclear weapon, with 14 warheads pointing right down on Russia.
Not only Russia.
Or China, wherever the hell else. Those rockets were supposed to point outwards, not in.
I know he's trying to make a serious point here, but his hand gestures made me laugh out loud.
I didn't notice the hand gestures.
What? Are you serious? Oh, no. My God.
Oh, my
He's
goodness.
so big with it.
I think you watched Connery way closer than I did in this recording because he did not stand out to me very much while watching this. So I think we're going to have pretty different opinions when we get to the end and talk about our experience or ratings for sure. What I did like was his political narrative here where he wanted to just protect Earth and not use it as a
that's exactly
weapon.
Your kind of guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was loving the
pacifist fucking overtones.
Well, not even pacifists, but the physicists who just wanted to use the technology to save Earth from space rather than governments who want to hold these against or over their opponents.
The betterment of all man.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and woman. I'm sorry. Pardon me. People. All people.
All people. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. That was just for you. No, Harry swears that Dr. Bradley will have full transparency and cooperation from NASA if he agrees to help them, which he of course does. But as we'll quickly learn, the 14 missiles on Hercules might not be enough to destroy a meteor that size, so it's time for a detour in some Cold War era political intrigue. We're going to Russia.
We transition there and we see the Russians who are clearly aware of this situation as well. And they highlight a doctor on that side, kind of Connery's counterpart on the other side. Yeah. He sort of has done the exact same thing. We find out Russia has also created these space rockets that instead of pointing them at space as the scientists there would have liked, are again pointing them at the United States. We have this sort of Cold War mutually assured destruction kind of idea going on here. Are they going to be able to get over these Cold War hatred and work together to blow up this meteor, or is everything going to go to shit? And who's going to be the man who can pull it all together? Who would have enough charm and bravado to convince the Russians to work with him?
And raw sexual magnetism. No, man, you already know. We already know what's going to happen here. Dr. Dubov is that Russian astrophysicist's name. His suggestion is that the Russians should contact NASA to figure out how the U.S. government is planning on handling this, but that is a dicey proposition, as an intense meeting with various secretaries and generals, including one played by Martin Landau, more on him later, we find out that the U.S. government has never publicly acknowledged the existence of the Hercules satellite, and that doing so now could have major political ramifications. I said earlier how melodramatic stuff was going to get. Well, we are getting it in full force here in this meeting, with gratuitous shouting, gesturing, and ominous cutaways of the meteor, not to mention a world-class storm out by Sean Connery. Fuck this, I'll be in the bar across the street.
Yeah, he had taken enough of the political yammering, and he wanted nothing to do with that anymore. He said, if you guys really want to stop this rock from exploding the Earth, he tells them what's going to happen. If
he wants to get to work, man.
Yeah,
he wants to get to work.
But instead, he's going to go drink a scotch.
A big one.
Yeah.
You know those giant glasses of scotch?
Tall scotch, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, it turns out this storm might have actually worked, as an even bigger meeting is scheduled with the president before Paul and Harry can even finish their giant glasses of scotch that we were just talking about. Now, to be fair, this was helped along by the fact that the BBC decided to break the news of the meteor threat, which immediately riled up the American public, and a phone call Harry gets at the bar with new information that Connery confirms. The Hercules satellite does not have enough firepower to blow this thing up. So in a wild turn of events, it looks like America is going to have to go crawling to the Russians with its tail between its legs asking for help. Or at least that's what might have happened if it weren't for a certain savvy president played by screen legend Henry Fonda, who basically tells these guys the 1979 equivalent of hold my beer.
We do get a pretty tremendous political speech where he tells them that they have created this system hoping to save the world from these kind of things, but that they're going to need a little bit of support. And they know Russia, who also has their own sort of system built in the same way, is going to need to help them. He puts it on the plate there, lets the Russians be a hero while also saving face on these secret Hercules mission.
Well, as long as they agree to do it. He kind of puts them in a corner here where they have no choice. They work with everyone else that look like giant dicks.
Yeah, that let the world die.
That's right, yes.
The sort of work with us or be the giant dicks.
That's the chess maneuvering, man. That's a great move by the president.
It is a bit of a checkmate scenario here. And you know what the good news is for Connery? He's going to get to play with his giant nukes. He gets to touch his missiles again.
That's right. With that settled, Harry takes Dr. Bradley and his glorious, glorious coat. We haven't mentioned that yet. This coat that Connery's wearing is fucking incredible.
Why is he wearing it everywhere? I was confused.
Because he's a man, that's why.
Goodness,
anyway,
giant leather coat.
It's so good. Harry takes him to NASA's top secret underground base where they control the Hercules satellite. And not only is it top secret, it's literally buried next to an old subway station in New York City that runs under the Hudson River.
Why not some sensible place like Houston?
This is easy access to a total telecommunications setup right above our heads. And nobody in their right minds would think of putting their most important emergency striking power under the busiest city in the world.
And we'll see why in about 45 minutes.
Oh my goodness. The throw to Houston is interesting here, right? It obviously NASA has major headquarters there, so they're wondering why it's not there. But the telecommunications is the excuse. I'm wondering if they just wanted to use New York City for the disaster movie rather than Houston, clearly.
Oh, it's very possible, yeah.
They just wanted to have cooler things to like destroy in a model scenario. We're getting a lot of interspersed space shots, and they're just close-ups of a menacing rock with synth music or just synth sounds being played
slowly
in the background.
I know, over and over again. Some of these are the same shot, too,
yeah,
right?
Oh, absolutely. It's feeling a little slow and dated right now.
In general? Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I'm struggling a little bit at this point in the movie. I want there to be a bit more action. I did like that political intrigue, and I like the president's speech, but I'm hoping to get a little more action on the Meteor front soon, and I guess I'm not going to be completely disappointed.
Not yet, but before we can get to that, we do have to meet some secondary characters here. So that's what happens while we await Dr. Dubov's arrival from Russia. General Adlon, that's Martin Landau's character, introduces Connery to the rest of the Hercules team. There's Chief Technician Rolf Mannheim, whose nephew, Dr. Bradley, is currently teaching at MIT, Trajectory Analysis Officer Jan Watkins, her assistant/boyfriend Alan Marshall, and some black guy who's in charge of communications. I don't think they gave us his name, which is a bad sign as they are clearly just bringing these characters in so we've got some people to die when the meteor hits.
Yeah, they're doing that Bill thing again where they want us to care about people and see if they're
by giving us the smallest amount of information.
Yeah.
Or in the case of that comms guy, zero information.
Doesn't he make it out though?
Well, spoilers. I was going to say, I am proven wrong on this one. I saw him. I'm like, this fucking guy's dead for sure.
You would assume based on the Star Trek kind of.
He might have well been wearing a red shirt. Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
But there's still one more character that we've got to meet to move into our next scene, and that's Connery's love interest who arrives from Russia. No, it's not Dr. Dubov. Although having that old man hook up with Dr. Bradley would have been insanely progressive. You probably would have liked that, eh? It's Dubov's interpreter, played just 2 years before her passing by the tragically doomed Natalie Wood. Her introduction accomplishes two things here. It injects a bit of comedy as she's forced to translate alongside an American interpreter, with the two of them talking over each other to the point of incomprehensibility, all because General Adlon is completely paranoid. And it also allows Sean Connery to establish himself as staunchly heterosexual.
Must we have everything in duplicate?
It's a recognized procedure. How else do we know we're being interpreted properly?
I think we could all start by trusting each other. And if it's a matter of choosing, I'll take the pretty one.
Just a man's man.
I guess, yeah.
Come on, dude.
He just chose the lady over the other guy. He didn't want to have the male interpreter. This is the general. The general was definitely being a dick, and thankfully Connery shuts him down here, and they start to have a bit of a scientist to scientist conversation rather than having the military types get in the way. Although our Russian scientist is being pretty vague for the most part at the start of this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but that's the political part coming to play here. This is the first of a couple of quick scenes. And yes, they are going back and forth in their respective satellites. Dubov refuses to acknowledge that the Russians even have one. But Dr. Bradley finds a loophole by getting the doctor to speak purely theoretically, just two astrophysicists throwing out hypotheticals, which beats the next scene where the only thing getting thrown around is some indigenous guy's family when a small fragment of meteor hits Siberia.
Yeah. This is our first sign of the meteor or chunks of the meteor hitting the Earth. They're calling these things slivers. And one of these small chunks from that collision in the asteroid belt comes and hits the Earth in Siberia. We are alerted to this by an indigenous family who's living out there in what looks like a traditional sort of tent or building.
Kind of looks like a furrier, if you know your Canadian history.
Yeah, it did look like it could be transporting furs for sure.
Not a euphemism for once on our podcast.
Yeah, no. They seem to survive this though. Like
what? They don't.
You think they get blasted away?
Of course they do. The thing lands with a bright light, and that's the last thing you see is them huddling together.
I guess. I don't know. I interpreted that one that it happened far enough away. They do say that it caused a massive earthquake, and that was sort of the first that we get. So maybe we lose. That's our first meteor sliver victims, and unfortunately for us, it's not going to be the last.
Unfortunately for us, or unfortunately for this movie?
Well,
bit of both.
Yeah,
they're underwhelming.
My least favorite part of this movie are the disaster effects from the...
You just said you wanted more action.
I did, but then when they get there, the effects that show the action and the people acting in them are absolute trash. Absolutely awful.
They're not the best, I agree. Sean Connery takes a break from working on the meteor problem in our next scene. Instead, he's going to work on Dubov's interpreter. We get some light flirting here as Dr. Bradley inquires about her background before just coming out and asking if she's seeing anyone. The answer is not at the moment. Before Connery can deploy his own missile, a report comes in of more meteor fragments hitting Europe. Not hitting, as it turns out. They all break up over an Italian highway, giving us and the locals a shitty fireworks display. This is what you're talking about, right? They're not very good.
Awful, yeah. Italy kind of gets spared here, right? It looks like they're going to get destroyed, but it ends up just being light. They get burned out before, like you said. I'm actually feeling at this point that the romance in this movie is quite light.
Yes.
I thought there would be much more between this interpreter and Connery, than we do get at the start, and actually throughout. It is only the moments at the very end of this film that we get a small amount of fireworks or something.
I said it was gentle flirting.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually thinking that there should be more for a Connery film, and maybe that's just me thinking about Bond and how hot and heavy things get in those films. There's no innuendo, right? They're treating it kind of...
He's not forcing himself on this lady like he did in that one Bond movie.
Oh,
is that right?
Yeah.
With a thunderball? Where
I don't know. I've never seen that.
The thing fades out and the lady's just saying no. And they just keep going.
Oh, goodness.
That's how I remember. Maybe that's not exactly correct, but I think that something like that happens.
So Italy's saved, and this is not making the general who is normally in charge of the Hercules project very happy.
God, no. It's...
melodramatic much is the moment right here. It's Landau, you said? Nolan?
Yeah, man, I called that near-miss meteor shower a shitty fireworks display a minute ago. We get the real fireworks here in the underground NASA base as General Adlon, who has been vehemently against this project since the beginning, loses his shit on everyone in what is perhaps the most melodramatic display in this whole giant soap opera of a movie.
Not one promise of calamity has come true. And as far as I'm concerned, not a single one will. When common sense is restored and the president has returned the control of this center to me, I shall return to this center.
Man, this guy need to switch to decaf or what?
Yeah, he's a little rough here. I don't know. This just seems like he is upset that he's losing control of his sort of role and having Sean Connery take it from him. He's being demasculated or emasculated.
Emasculated.
He's being emasculated.
Everyone in the room's being emasculated by Sean Connery.
What is it? The mustache or the jacket or the
toupee?
Scottish accent?
Don't.
Yeah.
Let's not bring up this toupee. It's all of it. He's a man. No, this childish outburst does have one positive benefit, though. It fires Dr. Dubov up enough to go to his superiors and demand they cut the bullshit so this American-Russian alliance can really get to work. And the next scene shows us the Russians with some political maneuvering of their own. They announced that they do, in fact, have a satellite similar to Hercules called Peter the Great, and they even claim they built theirs long before the U.S. did. So take that, America.
Losing in this sort of space race, I guess it seems like. But now they're both going to be winners working together to stop an Earth-destroying meteor. At least that's sort of what it looks like.
Is that what it looks like?
Well, it looks like they're about to work together.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the satellites. What we get next is what I describe as satellite porn. It's just outer space shots that show Hercules and Peter the Great slowly rising up and coming online.
My God. I have some very hard air quotes over this very exciting section of the film where
it's lengthy and
it's
slow.
Very long and slow as they're turning these, what I can only assume are small model rockets that they have a zoom on and they're spinning around. They do not look good. The space technology in this is certainly dated, and the way that it moves reminds me of those bad puppet TV shows or movies. What's the show that inspired the guys from South Park's movie about like the soldiers or whatever? That's inspired.
Oh, Thunderbirds.
That's it. It kind of reminds me of, it reminds me of Thunderbirds in its sort of movement here as we're seeing the satellites turn around. I'm like, this is pinnacle.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned pinnacle. You want action, man. You're right. The satellite's not giving it to us, but you know where we're going to get it? The Swiss Alps on Saturday, a day that will live in infamy. One of those meteor splinters smashes into one of the Alps, triggering an avalanche that wipes out hundreds, if not thousands of skiers, including some hot lady the camera tracks as she makes her way into a quaint village. I mentioned infamy a second ago. There's a section in here that wasn't even shot for this movie. They just reused footage from the movie called Avalanche, which came out like less than a year before this. But apparently it blew ass too, so I guess they assumed like nobody would recognize it because no one saw that either.
They cut chunks out of Avalanche and shoved it in?
Shot for shot, just like the one with like the guy in the red ski suit apparently is the guy that like he skis out and like the thing's chasing him and he gets wiped out just from the movie Avalanche.
So brutal. There's giant chunks of styrofoam falling onto people. It's clearly styrofoam and there's like fake blood popping up. The town in Switzerland gets buried, but it's all quite poor. And now where's going to get hit next? Like that's all we're thinking now.
That
right?
is
Where's
the question.
The next
well,
sort of explosion?
These are the stakes, man. And speaking of stakes, in our next scene, the president checks in with Harry to find out exactly how this can go before telling him to get rid of that meteor. And what we've got now is the calm before the storm. It's tense, like you said, wondering what's going to happen next. The Hercules team is just kind of waiting, so we see them doing different things. Some of them are sleeping. Dr. Dubov's playing chess with that chief technician. And Sean Connery is making moves on the interpreter once again. They banter back and forth about their respective relationship statuses before Connery asks her if she ever considered living anywhere else. Wink, wink.
You'd like it here, you know. We've got everything. Power cuts, strikes, unemployment, race riots, and a terrific crime rate.
Does this guy know his audience or what? No, seriously. If you were trying to seduce a Russian official during the height of the Cold War, dunking on America would not be a bad strategy.
I guess that's fair. She's clearly already shown interest in him by making sure that he's well fed. They go and have that. They have that date in the like cafeteria of the Hercules place, and it is pretty hilarious. She's asking about his marital status and why it's not working out as well. He just says that they no longer have the same interests.
They're incompatible is the word. And she tells him the Russian equivalent.
And they both enjoy that moment together. So it does seem like there's some romance brewing. And what I kind of think is maybe they're going to go find a bed to on before the world is
God, man.
either exploded or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they going to go bone down just to be like, we don't know if the world's going to end or not. We got to get it in one last time. Like, I'm thinking Armageddon here. I'm thinking yeah, right? Like more people in that sort of way. It's funny having seen Armageddon, it coming out in the time in which like I became familiar with action and disaster movies. It just seems like such a different kind of experience watching this one.
Well, the world was different, no.
Yeah.
These people are far more optimistic they're going to be successful. I don't know. No, I know what you're saying, and I totally agree. Whatever this case study in international relations is, it's broken up when Dr. Bradley receives an urgent transmission about a big meteor fragment hitting off the coast of Hong Kong. The result? Tidal wave, which I can't believe wasn't also the name of a disaster movie in the 70s. I feel like it should have been, right?
Tsunami had to have been a movie, no?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. Hard to pronounce if you don't know how to read it. No. What we get now is chaos on the streets and some straight up emotional manipulation as one Chinese man frantically tries to get to his family, successfully making it home to his wife, son, and an adorable dog, only for them all to be washed away when the water hits the streets. The writers even run back the whole astronauts getting blown up beat from earlier for good measure, only instead of a meteor, it's a giant wave, which Connery's Hong Kong contact can only watch as it comes right at him. Get out of there!
And then
he does not get out of there.
He does not make it, but he does tell Sean Connery's character to get the big one.
It's his last words to him.
Get the big one,
Do it
Paul.
for me.
Yeah.
Do it for me, Paul.
Yeah. So we get that sort of hurrah moment. The close-up of this wave and the water that is soaking people is absolutely unbelievable. And I mean unbelievable in that I don't believe a fucking second of it.
But no, they actually built sets and like used water. Like a lot of the effects in this, I shouldn't say a lot, but like they spend a sizable amount of money on this to have like water. Like later on in the subway scene, we're going to get to the subway scene later, the water in the mud, a lot of that is real water and real mud.
Oh, absolutely.
And like,
It's real. It just doesn't look like what would happen if a tsunami, 100-foot wave traveling 600 miles per hour were to hit the edge of Hong Kong.
Well, it's weird that it hits different places at different times. That's the strange part. You can be like one big wave, but no, the streets get washed out well before this guy who's like right on the coast gets, I don't know how that works.
I felt the avalanche and the tidal wave were some of the biggest detractors I had in this movie.
Which should have been like the best parts.
Well, and they needed the action, right? Like they needed it for us to be there. But like you said, they are like purely trying to pull on our heartstrings without making the connections to those families, right? Like that was pretty lame. And then the way that it appears as it's going down is just not winning me over. I'm not loving this part. I'm ready for them to either blow up the big meteor or not. Like I'm at the point where I'm like, come on, you're stalling too long for me here. Let's get this over with.
Well, we're almost there. We're inching closer. Even more than the tragic events in Switzerland, this Hong Kong disaster has really driven home the danger that Earth is facing now. And with the people thoroughly on edge as the joint U.S.-Russian project is about to launch, the president addresses the nation.
15 minutes from now, the Russian rockets will be launched. And 40 minutes after, our own rockets will be sent to join them. They will strike the meteor, sending it into a harmless orbit, never more to menace Earth. It is Sunday. Stay in your homes. Have faith. There is nothing we can do but wait. We will let you know when the danger is past.
You know, as far as speeches go, this is not exactly the Gettysburg Address. Honestly, like dude's saying positive things, strike the meteor, harmless orbit, never to threaten again. But his tone is like, yeah, it's out of our hands. Let's hope for the best.
There's not a lot they can do, right? I guess they don't want people out in the streets just partying as if it is the last day on Earth. So that's hard to control. You don't want that. So you gotta have everyone stay home and cross their fingers and pray that this is all gonna go well.
Yeah, Jesus has the wheel.
There's this countdown timer that is like hilarious. It just has the dates December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way up to the 7th when it's supposed to hit a Pearl Harbor.
The one on the wall, the individual lights for each day.
And just a red light blinks up when the day changes. I was like, holy crap, this is hilarious. And
something out of the old Batman show.
Yeah.
Is what it looked like. Yeah.
Absolutely awful. We think that that's about to sort of go off soon, right? We're like 15 minutes left here. This is coming soon.
It has to be.
What else can get in the way of them being successful? There couldn't be any more sort of curveballs on this, could there?
Oh my, of course there's going to be for sure. Although the president's speech might not have been overly optimistic, things seem to be trending up at the start of our next scene. We get a successful missile launched on the Russian side that's got everyone in a good mood. Hell, even General Adlon comes crawling back to apologize and offer to help in any way he can. But just when it seems like everything's going to be okay, word comes in from the UK there's another big meteor splinter approaching Earth, and it's headed right for New York City. So now they're in a tight spot because if that splinter disables the underground NASA base before they launch their rockets, there's a 0% chance of saving the Earth. But if Dr. Bradley and company panic and launch early, the timing will be off, which makes everything very unpredictable. Now, if you're a stat nerd, that probably still sounds like the better option. Hell, even Harry suggests they should do it. But Sean Connery is a man with courage and brawn, and he silences the voices of doubt in the room with 2 words: we wait.
Oh, it's funny because I didn't feel like Connery held the weight of this very well.
He doesn't put a lot. I put more into saying the 2 words than he
you
actually
absolutely did. I was just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna trust him. He's in charge. We're gonna wait, and as you could easily predict, they do fire off the American ones, and everything seems to be going well right before that splinter comes and smokes New York. And interestingly, I guess in hindsight, what does it crash into first?
Oh, the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
Twin Towers,
the Twin Towers get hit.
That was
by
an easy
first.
feature to... It's a lot easier to make a model of that explode than like the Statue of Liberty.
I actually thought they were going to hit the Statue of Liberty because they do go over it first and then crash into the Twin Towers. But I had definitely seen that scene before.
Well, that's the thing. They managed to launch the rockets, but they completely eat shit when this fragmented meteor arrives. And the exterior effects we get... It's like stock footage of buildings collapsing, or maybe they built a couple of models that they had explode. But no, some of this is definitely footage from other things or footage that's been used since then. It's stock footage. You probably have seen it before.
Yeah,
but had you seen a big, bright ball of light fly over those things before they explode? Because that's the meteor fragment effect, man.
These effects suck.
It's like the Earth is being attacked by the sun, but like a shitty sun that someone made for their like student film.
Yes, absolutely. So they may have saved humanity, but it doesn't look like things are going well for New York here.
Well, and the effects on the inside, the interior effects of the base being destroyed, I thought were actually like decent.
Yeah, not bad. It does look like it would happen as things were falling in on them.
Yeah, at least compared to the other stuff in this movie. I mean,
yeah,
like maybe you can probably do a better version of this, but compared to the shit we've seen, no, there's rocks and light fixtures falling from the ceiling, walls and catwalks collapsing, and yes, some of those secondary characters we met earlier bite it. That trajectory lady is gone, much to the chagrin of her assistant. He's now out of a job and a girlfriend. And Connery finds General Adlon's dead body buried among the rubble. But... and I have to admit I was wrong about this one. That black comms officer is still alive and kicking.
Still going.
Can't believe it. They didn't even give us his name, and that guy's still alive. Good for him.
The other guy, though, they did introduce us to is in a bad way. He had part of the stuff fall on his legs.
Chief technician.
Chief technician.
He's alive, but his legs aren't.
Yeah, it's not going well for him. He's going to need some help. What I thought was interesting is that they kind of send Connery to go check out the exits. They're sort of like, you go climb on a bunch of shit and see if you can figure this out. Is there nobody else there who has these skills?
By these skills, do you mean like manliness and he's also an astrophysicist. He's the most intelligent guy in the room. He's an astrophysicist, renowned. He designed the whole fucking satellite. What do you want from the guy, Noel? Take it easy on him. God, jealous. All right, so our main characters have all survived the worst of it, or so it seems, but now they're trapped beneath the surface and will have to find a way out. Luckily, Harry knows about a way they can get into the subway tunnel this thing was built next to, so we don't have to waste a bunch of time acting like there's no way out other than the most dangerous one, like in Alone in the Dark 2 weeks ago, where they opened that fucking door because there was no other way out, then Christian Slater found a ladder at exactly the right moment. Fuck, that was bad. I'm still reeling from that movie.
That was pretty convenient for sure. The fact that they were able to do that. There is no ladder like that here, but there is an exterior exit into the subway. And we're going to get transition shots between a countdown for when the rockets are supposed to arrive at the big meteor and them trying to escape the rubble. I'm wondering, though, why is it necessary for them to get out of here right away? Do they not have food stored? Are they not like safe in this space?
Nope. It's starting to collapse more.
So it's threatening that it's going to fall on
which,
them
I mean,
more.
we see what happens in a second. So there's clearly a threat that like more, they're underground. I mean, you got to get out of the underground if there's like damage to the surface.
It depends, depending on how they built that structure, though, it might be safer than wandering into
half
a
of it
subway.
just fucking fell on them. It's not safe.
That's fair. It doesn't seem like they have a pretty strong foundation here. So I guess you're right. But
wordplay?
Yeah. So they start to head out of there while we're also getting that cross-section. Sean Connery again leading the way, and he finds a destroyed subway car and moves his way through the subway.
Yeah, man, but it's still very unstable, and we're about to see a big disaster happen. However, there may be bigger problems up in space, as we learn via a quick cutaway to Mission Command that some of the missiles have failed and gone off course. Guess which country they were from? It's the Russian ones, yeah. Now,
it was the American ones.
Well, hang on a second. The first ones to fail were Russian. I believe two or three of the Russian ones failed, and one of the American ones does.
That's fair.
But I get what they're doing this. They already laid the ground where technology could fail, and it's theoretically an easy way to build tension. But come on, man. We know they're not going to end this movie with a meteor wiping out Earth. Clearly enough missiles are going to make it there. Plus, they already have enough tension going with the many gallons of water and pounds of mud from this subway scene that nearly killed all the actors in real life.
Was that true?
I'm exaggerating slightly, but a couple of them got very bad infections and stuff, and super sick from being submerged in cold ass fucking water and mud for days.
Yeah, this does get pretty rough for the crew of the Hercules Center, right? The people who were there to launch the rockets. As they're heading out through that subway, it seems like the Hudson River, which is right beside it, starts to
coming in. Yeah.
Burst through those walls, and Connery gets absolutely doused in this shit-looking water.
He's one of the guys that got very sick. They had to pause filming for a couple of days, I think.
I'm not surprised on that one because it looks disgusting. They're all kind of getting covered in this shit water as they're making their way out. It literally looks like sewage.
Yeah, it's very brown, yeah.
Yeah. But they do make their way, or most of them make their way to higher ground, although they do lose that head technician. Is that what it was? Or
yeah, almost everyone makes it to the subway station, but that chief technician guy, he gets washed away when the subway wall collapses. He's pretty much left for dead by Harry. He gets kind of washed away, and Harry's just there's no point, and they just leave. I'm that's the end of that guy. Fuck.
Yeah, Connery tries to help him for a second, and Harry tells him to get the fuck out of there. But then Harry himself almost eats it. He loses steam, and Connery has to go in and save him. He does yank him out of the subway car and up the escalator to quasi safety. They make their way to a subway station, I guess, a second level of a subway station. They are blocked from above, but hopefully they're going to be able to get some help. They no longer are chest deep in the shit water.
That's true. There's no more immediate. They look terrible though. But we still get a nice exchange here when Connery goes to check on Dr. Dubov.
What was that?
He said, one day you will come to Moscow and you will see a clean subway.
One day I'll take him up on that.
A little fun exchange there. And now they're stuck playing the waiting game as the missiles are due to reach Orpheus in 3 minutes. This should be the big climactic event of the movie, and I guess it is in theory, but in reality, we get a bunch of increasingly quick cuts back and forth between the missiles and the meteor until finally they collide, kind of, resulting in some quick fireworks and a very generic-looking explosion.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It fills up the screen, and they linger on it for almost a solid minute of film time. Literally, 60 seconds is just this explosion. But yeah, this was no Oppenheimer.
Man, the wait was killing me. I couldn't wait to find out how bad the effect was going to be.
It's pretty bad. That's where we're at this point.
At this point, watching this movie, I'm I can't wait to see how shit the effect was. And I was not surprised when it was absolutely terrible. We can't even tell if things exploded. We assume the meteor's gone, but they
where
haven't
are the
told
meteor
us
fragments?
Yet.
Why are there no pieces of that shooting through the earth the last time it blew up?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they got blown up by these 16 nuclear missiles. I don't know. Oh my goodness. We get a space shot, but very little debris and no more meteor. It kind of passes that minute and a half, and the danger's past. Are they going to get rescued, or are they stuck down in that subway forever?
I love that you keep bringing this up as a realistic possibility.
Oh my God.
They of course get rescued as word of the triumph quickly reaches the subway station. Everyone congratulates themselves. Dr. Bradley Dubov, Harry, and the interpreter all congratulate each other. She gets a deep hug from Connery here just as someone breaks through from the service to let them out. And from there, we quickly cut to an airfield the next day where Dr. Dubov receives whatever the opposite of a hero's welcome is. A hero's farewell? I don't know. There's all these government and military types saluting him and clapping as he boards his plane back to Russia, pausing at the door to whisper to his interpreter that in his opinion, she'll be back here someday. Perhaps, she says back in Russian. Although the lusty look she and Sean Connery exchange makes you think this won't be the last targeted strike they collaborate on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. He kind of walks away, the Russian doctor, with his hands full of souvenirs. There's like a Fozzie the Bear in his bag.
Yep. And that baseball bat.
They give him a Dodgers baseball bat, and he seems to smile. Connery, of course, steals that kiss before he lets her go on the tarmac here. He wasn't going to be completely above board. And
well, hang on a second. It's not like he pinned her down, man. She wasn't exactly resisting.
I mean, he's still married, I think, based on what we...
Yeah. On the loosest terms. Come on. What a narrow view to take on this.
We head into the credits. Of course, we get a scroll, kind of like a Star Wars scroll here. And we do find out that it's based on a true story of Icarus that MIT created in the 1960s.
This never happened, but
MIT the idea did create, of the missile defense system,
called Project Icarus. Which, am I crazy, or wouldn't that have been a better title for this movie?
Ooh, yeah, probably.
Although then people wouldn't necessarily know what they were getting. With Meteor, it's clear.
It spells it right out there. You're going to get a bad disaster movie starring a Scottish man pretending to be a genius American who wants to have sex with a Russian, but they're too prudish at this time.
Also played by an American. I guess their family's Russian. I don't know. But no, so I say you would know exactly what you're going to get, but do you feel like you got what you expected from this movie?
I think it was more political intrigue and less cool meteor destruction effects than I had expected. It wasn't quite what I thought. I thought Sean Connery might be more of a ladies' man, less of a scientist, more of a workman. I think part of what made the heroes in Armageddon so good is that they were
down to earth, blue collar fellas. Yeah,
they didn't have to play it as the straight man for the most part in this thing, and I think in some ways that almost hurt Sean Connery's performance for me.
It was more restrained than I would have liked as well in that sense. I mean, he's playing a scientist. He can't be like fucking James Bond just in a cardigan or whatever.
I wish he was.
Yeah.
I really wish he was. And maybe that's a problem with my expectations.
Maybe.
But,
we're at this point, we're basically already discussing how we felt of the movie. We should probably just move into our ratings. The way we always do this, rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 2 times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are a 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And I'm not going to lie, this is a bad movie, but I feel like it's kind of maybe not that bad if you factor in era. It is for the time a decently star-studded cast. You don't know a lot of these names, but they were at the time celebrities, most of them. Natalie Wood was she'd already kind of reached the apex of her fame. Henry Fonda, even his best friend Carl Malden is like that, and Martin Landau. There's names in this that would have lent it some star power at the time. The biggest problem with this that I have is the effects. They're really fucking shitty. And if you're watching a disaster movie, the big thing you want is the disaster. You want the effects. You want the set pieces. When you throw on the whole space thing as well, to have space effects that are less good than movies set in outer space that came out 15, 20 years before this, that's a bit of an issue for me. I thought Connery was fine. Again, you're not going to get James Bond, but whatever. The performances in this, in general, weren't really terrible. Just, again, so fucking melodramatic, which is a tonal choice, I guess, by the director. I could see that same script having been done a little bit more I was going to say more subdued. If you have anything more subdued, people be falling asleep in the fucking aisle. So, I am going to give this an 8 for how bad it is. I originally said a 7, but as we talked about it, and I've kind of felt myself kind of feel the drag all over again, I'm going to go with an 8. What did you think?
I have similar comments. So number one on my list of bad is definitely the special effects. Just didn't have it for me. Either the visual effects of explosions, the fact that they were cutting in shots from other movies I've now learned, which...
Well, a small amount, not like a ton. But
although there was a lot of...
the stock footage.
Yeah, stock footage in all of the disaster shots and destruction for sure. The pace was probably the biggest issue I had with this, and I don't know if that's just because...
I swear you just said the biggest issue with special effects.
Oh,
Did you not literally just say...
I said the first thing on my list of bad was the special effects. So I might have said it was the biggest one, but I actually think the biggest problem I had was the pace, and I don't know if that's fair. This might have been a reasonably paced movie for the 70s. The time, and I just don't have things to compare it to. I was struggling to write down where I was. I don't think it was garbage. Like, I don't think it was poor for the day. I actually think there are aspects of it, including the acting, I think were well done. I thought the music and some of the editing and shots were well done too. So I actually only had this as a 7 bad.
Okay.
In my
so
bad
I went
rating.
more bad than you. That's surprising.
Yeah, you did. It's funny that you changed it too, but I had this as a 7 bad. And
I bet I'll have it more enjoyable though than you.
I'm giving it some credit based on, I think, the time.
Yeah,
that it was in. I enjoyed some of the tension that was created. I did want to see what was happening. By the end, though, I was wondering how bad the shots were going to be rather than whether they were going to be alive. It was a different kind of expectation. It was a different expectational tension. I thought the acting was quite well done. I didn't have problems with almost any of the performances. The general maybe was a bit over the top. And I'm sure that he was coached to be so, for sure. I actually thought that Connery was fine. The accent didn't bother me a whole lot in it. It didn't stand out as like a jarring, this is annoying kind of thing. I would have liked to see him play up some of the other aspects of comedy or his role even a little more, but I'm sure he was told to do that by the director.
Up with the finger gestures he used for those missiles?
I didn't see it. I don't know why. I was probably too busy writing notes. But I did like the symphonic music and even the use of synth to create the mood on a lot of the shots. So I just wish it was faster and that the destruction and the connections we had with the people who were dying was more. I had this as a 6, enjoyable.
Oh, so I don't have it more enjoyable. I have the same number as you. I also have it as a 6. I agree with a lot of stuff you just said. The pacing is a problem for me. It dragged at points. The effects were pretty terrible. Those fucking meteor splinters were just a joke in how bad they were.
They were terrible.
Which, like, sometimes I enjoy that, but it was infuriating at points. And I really did not care for the blatant emotional manipulation where they're trying to get you to care about, like, oh, this baby, this dog is going to die. This, what, fuck, man. Like, it's a cheap tactic by people who didn't want to craft a story with characters we'd actually give a shit about. Yeah. Just I think a low grade example of a genre that in general didn't last much longer. It kind of faded out by the end of the 70s, which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think part of what kept me as close to you in this was I actually did enjoy the ending of that Cold War feud in working together in that essence to save the Earth. That to me felt good. Like, I like that part. That gave me a little bit of a smile for sure. Seeing the scientists do good for the Earth.
And to bring this thing full circle, for me, it was mostly Connery. Those were the parts of the movie I enjoyed, were him getting angry and him being Sean Connery just in a different setting. Although, again, kind of a muted version. So 6 enjoyable, not the best. But I'll tell you what was pretty fucking good in my opinion. This beer. How'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, absolutely. The Meteor Sour by the Stanley Park Brewing Company out of Vancouver was tremendous. It almost tasted to me like a slushy sour. Like the ones where you get the chunks of fruit in it. It almost felt like that to me, but it wasn't. It was
looks like a regular beer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just like a lager or a pilsner. It is like fairly clear and like golden in color. It doesn't seem to have any of the coloring or texture you would expect, like you're saying. Yeah.
Which felt kind of shocking based on how fruit forward the flavor was, but it did finish really almost grainy in a nice way. Like it did taste like beer in the end too, which is nice from a sour because sometimes it gets away and it just tastes like a juice. So I thought they did a really, really good job with this, and I would love to try some other Stanley Park stuff.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of a beer that I want to say we had in season 4, but it's not, I can't remember. It's not coming to me, but it had a similar thing where you get the fruit taste, but it finishes like a beer. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds. If you're not a huge sour person, it's not like particularly tart.
No.
You more just like fruit forward. And then, you kind of end with actual like beer notes. I can't get over the colors. It really threw me off when we poured it. I'm like, why isn't this more like mango's kind of orange? You know what I mean? Guava. Why isn't it more pink, orange, whatever? It just looks like I poured myself a lager, and really tasty. glad we got to experience it. And, probably the thing I will look back on the most fondly about watching this movie. So there's that.
Absolutely. I think the Meteor Sour is the clear winner on this one.
Yeah, man. But I'll tell you what, 2 weeks from today, we are all going to be winners because it's our Halloween episode coming up in 2 weeks. And we are going to be watching just a legendary all-time bad movie. It's from the 80s. It's a horror-themed movie. So we're already in a great, great zone here. 2 weeks from today, we're going to be watching Hobgoblins.
What?
Picture a really shitty version of Gremlins.
More shitty than Gremlins.
Whoa, are you calling Gremlins shitty? You bite your tongue.
No, it's a fun movie. I like Gremlins.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Gremlins 2, we can talk, but Gremlins the original. No.
Okay.
This is like a homeless man's version of that with like way worse effects. It's fucking 80s rific. It's, again, just a legendary bad movie, and it should make for a really enjoyable time. If you haven't seen Hobgoblins, go watch. It's not long. I think it's like less than that. It might be like less than 80 minutes. But yeah, should be some fucking laughs. So I think a good choice for our Halloween episode.
I'm really excited for that. That seems like a fun departure after watching Meteor.
Oh, it'll be a lot fucking lighter than this shit. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. So that'll be in 2 weeks' time. Before then, if you haven't already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
You want to send us an email, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. You can give us requests that way or in our DMs or our social media. We got plenty of season left, so we got a couple requests coming, but we can always take more. Let us know if there's a movie you want us to review. But we thank you for joining us today for Meteor. Hope to see you back here in 2 weeks' time for Hobgoblins. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep your missile up, not down. I like that.
There's no place on earth to hide.